Buenos dias, good morning, Canvas Real Estate Miami Lakes team. Welcome to today's training, Listings 101, with the added value of the 3 L's from the MREA book. And we have multiple agents today on the call. Actually, I hate this because I need to allow people in, and this is not going to be fun. Hello, Ro. Welcome. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to do the training in English, although we could do a little bit of Spanglish back and forth. So it will be mainly in English, but any questions that I need to address, you could ask them in Spanish and that would not be a problem. Okay. Por lo general voy a hacer este entrenamiento en inglés para la grabación, pero podemos utilizar un poquito Spanglish si fuese necesario. Si necesitan hacer alguna pregunta, lo pueden hacer. Primero de todo, quiero preguntarle, porque esto va a ser un Listings 101 Q&A session. Entonces, vamos a empezar primero de todo con las preguntas. ¿Qué preguntas tienen ustedes sobre el listing process? Y se pueden quitar de mute y dejarme saber. Nadie tiene preguntas sobre listings. Eso no lo creo yo. Porque ese es uno de los temas más importantes de nosotros, en la industria de nosotros de real estate, de cómo coger listings, cómo trabajar los listings, cómo vender los listings. Y este tema sí es un tema bien profundo y es posiblemente el tema más importante que hay en el negocio. Any questions regarding listings? Perhaps this is one of the most important topic in our business, which is how to get a listing, how to service a listing, and how to sell a listing. So right now I'm opening it up for Q&A. Any questions from any of you? Let's get the questions asked that you have. That way I could focus on that, or I could answer them right off the bat, and then I'll get into the presentation. So any questions? You are all very shy. Now that's one thing that in this business, you cannot be shy in order to be a salesperson, because at the end of the day, we are salespeople. So if you are shy, you need to go to the trainings on unbecoming shy. So I saw Daimara, she had a question. Yo tengo una. ¿Cómo puedo llegarle a un cliente que no conozco, además de un listing presentation? Okay, very good. Pues nada, vamos a contestar esa pregunta. Con dos preguntas, porque son dos. So the question is, how do I get, or how do I approach a client that I do not know? And also about the listing presentation. Okay. On the second one, on the listing presentation, I don't know how deep I'm going to be able to get into that subject, Daimara, in all honesty, because that's really about, that's more, I'm going to be doing that in the workshop that I'm going to be doing, not this Saturday, the following Saturday. But I might be able, I'll be able to share my listing presentation to a certain extent. So that's one of my goals today. which is to share my listing presentation. So how do you reach out to a customer that you do not know? So the question is what type of customer it is. If it's expired, or if it's a for sale by owner, or if it's just someone that you want to approach and see if they are thinking of selling, or yeah, if they're thinking of selling. So which type of client is this, Daimara? Is it a for sale by owner, expired, or it's just someone that you're looking to approach to prospect? Expired. Okay, great. Now, one word of caution in reference to expireds is that not every listing that is in the MLS is an expired listing. Okay. And I could show you, and actually we could go through this process. So being that we're going to be talking about listings, but I just want to bring all of you to the awareness that not every expired that you see in the MLS is a true expired. So there would be a different approach with every expired that you see. Okay. So Ro, I'm sure you would agree with me. And Daimara, you could probably agree with me on that subject, because you've been in business a couple of years. But
Absolutely.
for all the other agents, just because a property shows expired doesn't mean that it's expired. So I'm going to give you an example. So it's going to take me 2 minutes. So just bear with me here. You could go get your favorite drink, a coffee, a cup of water, whatever it is that you want to get, because I need to go into the MLS. That way I could show you what I mean by these expireds. And it'll take me 5 minutes to go through the different illustrations. All right, so here we go. So pay attention to my screen. All right, so these expireds, you're going to see an expired is an expired, but there's an expired that's coming off from a temporarily off the market or out of the market. In other words, we as listing agents, we're able to have a listing, and if our customers tell us we don't want to sell, we want you to take the property off the market, what we do is we put it temporarily off the market with the hopes that before it actually expires, that our customers will call us and say, hey, I want to sell again. We kind of control that listing, because the moment that it hits expired, then that goes to all the different third-party companies that provide contact information for expired listings. So temporarily is one of those statuses. Withdrawal is another status. So we could take a listing, put it temporarily off the market. We could have it withdrawn. We still, as a listing agent, have control of that listing, that no other real estate agents could approach that particular seller until it expires. And then there's a canceled listings. Okay. So I want to bring awareness to that last one, the canceled listing, because there's opportunities there if you work this segment of the business. Okay. The older, the better. Okay. So again, on canceled listings, the older the canceled listing, the better it is. Because that means that someone that was on the market and for A, B, or C reasons, they had seller's remorse and decided not to sell. So in this first illustration, this is a true expired listing, okay? Because what you're looking for is the designation here as a last designation, which is A, that it went to expired listing, okay? So this is a true expired listing, and Daimara, I promise I'm going to answer your question, okay? Let's see. That's not a good example, so just bear with me. Ooh, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a minute. I hit the wrong. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm going into property history, okay? So I want to find an example of what I was sharing with you. So here's one, all right? So this particular listing at one time was listed on May 3rd of 2023, but on July, they took it off the market. They put it back, the same agent, back in August. It expired in February 29th, but they reactivated the listing. So this particular customer, and this is also one thing that you want to keep in mind. If you see a listing or a property that has been for a long time listed in the MLS, back and forth, canceled, expired, withdrawn, whatever it is. But if you notice that it's the same agent, this means that that seller, they have a loyalty to that particular listing agent. So don't waste your time on that, because you could go after someone that they don't have a relationship with no one, and you don't have to convince them to work with you. So just make your life easier on that end. Okay. So let me find the right scenario that I'm looking for. All right. So here's one. Now, this is a great example of why this going after the expired market, it's going to be the new business or the new opportunities that we're going to have as listing agents. So number one, what you need to keep in mind is, in order to capture the expired business, you need to be very skilled. Okay. So this area, this segment of the business requires skills. And what do I mean by skills? You need to know your dialogue. You need to have some sort of scripts in order to get to the opportunity. But here's an example. So this particular property was listed in July 25th of last year. And January 3rd, they took it off the market, temporarily off the market. It became expired January 31st. You see the temporarily off the market, went to expired. This is the example that I was telling you about. Okay. Now, if you're working the expired market and this shows up on your report today, so let's say if this, instead of this being January 31st, it would have been April 16th, it would have showed up on the report of April 17th. You look at this expired, for myself, this is not a true expired, because it's someone that took the property temporarily off the market. So now what happened here is, in February 25th, you see this change of agent. So this property was listed by another agent but in February 25th, it was listed by another agent. Okay, so it wasn't expired. It had been temporarily off the market since January. This seller shopped around, looked around, waited to find the right agent. Someone referred on the right agent, or this agent may have prospected this customer and captured or took advantage of this opportunity. So that's one example. Let me find one more example, and then I'm going to answer Daimara's question. So here's another one. Property listed in August 9th, temporarily off the market in December 15th, expired February 9th. Now, this is a prime customer that could be approached, okay? Because it's a temporarily off the market property that became expired, okay? So the key is you got to read the status prior to the expiration, okay? If you see temporarily off the market or withdrawn on the day that you got that property, that it was an expired listing, then you might not want to approach that customer immediately, okay? Because he's coming off a relationship with another agent. Now, a couple weeks down the road, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, that would be ideal. On the canceled listings, what I recommend is that you work with the listings in your neighborhoods, in the area, 1 square mile. That way you're able to get to these expires, okay? Because if you chase them throughout South Florida, you're going to spend a lot of time on the road, a lot of money and gas, and you might not be effective with your time. So the way I work it is 15, 20 minutes from my home, from my office that I'm able to get to. But in reality, it's really my area, my general area. So I live here in Hialeah. So just the Hialeah area, Miami Lakes area, that it's 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. I do track expireds in Miramar and Pembroke Pines, but that I'm doing a whole different type of marketing with that. Okay. So to answer your question, Daimara, how do you get to these expireds? Okay. If it's a true expired, what I would do is capture the information and I will go to that expired in person. I'll introduce myself. Mr. Seller, I noticed that your property was on the market and it did not sell. And there's a script for that, okay, that we will work, or I will share with you what those scripts would be. But bottom line is that would be my first approach, okay? If I do not meet the customer in person, then I would leave them my contact information. I would have even a letter to introduce myself, create yourself a letter, not too elaborate, just 1 or 2 paragraphs with all your contact information, okay? And then you start approaching and you start contacting that expired listing if you happen to have their phone numbers on a regular basis. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the first week that expired comes on the market, that homeowner is bombarded, okay? So your communication by phone, it's not, if you're not one of the first ones, like it came out today and you were on the phone at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you were one of the first calls, then by the end of today, your calls will not be answered because that seller knows, wow, what happened here? My property came off the market. He's upset. His property didn't sell. And now he's getting bombarded with all these phone calls. So I would say that the most effective form in approaching an expired of you getting their attention is, hey, I'm here. I know your property did not sell. There's a reason why it did not sell. And you're going to have those scripts eventually as to they're going to be pinpointed questions as to why that listing, or you're going to ask them, okay, what happened and what do you think happened that your property didn't sell? They're going to tell you two reasons. Number one, either the price was too high, or number two, they did not get enough marketing, or the marketing that was being done for them was not effective. Or number three, you could have, you may get the response that I did get offers, but it wasn't what I was looking for. Okay, so they may have had multiple offers, 3, 4, 5 offers, but they were lowballing them, and maybe that seller wasn't ready to sell at that price. But the most important thing that you have to gauge, so there's two questions that you need to gauge when you're approaching an expired, is number one is what happened? What do you think happened as to the reason your property didn't sell? Let them answer, number one. And number two, what is your motivation in selling at this point? Why do you need to sell? Once you get those two questions, now you know how you're going to approach that particular seller in order to solve their situation. Okay? So did I answer your question, Damara? Okay, great. So she's on the other side of the glass and she's saying thank you. Awesome. All right. Any other questions besides how to approach an expired? Nope. All right. We'll continue. So let me get my presentation going. All right. Could everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Thumbs up. All right, perfect. All right, that's all I need. All right. So this is just a general template that I use with the agents that I coach, the lead generation activities. Okay. So let's look at the prospecting side, which is for sale by owners and expireds. Those are the ones mainly that I'm going to be focusing on in this training. Okay. Now, when you're prospecting for sale by owners and expireds, or better said, when you are targeting for sale by owners and expireds, you need to use a combination of prospecting. That means telemarketing, face-to-face, and text communication. However, you're also going to need a little bit of marketing. So depending on what you're doing and what your budget, there needs to be a little bit of a marketing involved as well. Now let's focus on the for sale by owners. Okay, so there's going to be two parts to this. I'm going to focus on the for sale by owners first, and secondly, we're going to focus on the expired. Now, this is a pre-qualifying listing presentation in which, by the way, at the end of this training, I'm going to be sending this presentation to you, and you're more than glad, you're more than welcome to use any of this. And if you need something different, and maybe we could work something out that I could design this for you with my assistant, I'm here to help you. Okay, I'm here to add value to you. So now the pre-qualifying listing presentation sheet. Okay, so this is for the for sale by owner. As you have an appointment already, you're going to go meet them at some point between the moment that you have the appointment scheduled and you get there. You want to do your best to get this answer, this pre-qualifying listing presentation sheet. Okay, because there's a bunch of questions here that is going to help you in your presentation. So first is, if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I come out tomorrow, Thursday, April 18th? Yes, no, whatever they tell you, it's fine. Just write it down. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? This is important. Now, this is a question that it could be a double-edged sword. Okay. Most people, I would say 50-50, they, they may be interviewing another agent, but most people, they're really gonna go and list, perhaps if you're a good presenter, with you when you give them the listing presentation. So again, it's a question that is valid depending on the time, depending on, or better said, depending on your scheduling, depending on the distance. This may be important for you to find out. And you want to make sure that you are either the first, you want to be the first one in the door, because you got to sell hard. Okay. If they're thinking of interviewing more than one agent, then you need to sell hard. You need to do a good job in presenting and have the mindset, I'm sitting down, and until they don't throw me out the door, I'm not going to leave the house without the listing. That's kind of like somewhat of a mindset. Okay. So are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? If you're not the first one, then last may be best. So ask them, okay, if you ask them the question, are you planning to interview more than one agent? Ask them, how many agents are you looking to interview? And if they say 3, then you want to be the third one. If not the first one, then you want to be the third one. You don't want to be the person in the in between. Okay. Question number 3, tell me again, where are you moving to? Okay. So it's important because they're living here now. Once they sell, where are they going to move to? Number 4, this is the motivation question. How soon do you have to be there? Now you know what you need to do in order to get that home sold. Number 5, when I see you, how much do you want to list your home for? They're going to tell you a price that's probably more than the current market price. Okay. So this is where your skills are going to come into play. You need to have a good CMA, and if they tell you I want 500,000, and the price, the market value is 450, you got a $50,000 gap in between. Okay. So it's important that you get as close to the market value as possible. Okay. 20, 15, $20,000 above the market value, it's fine. You can work with that seller. If you're 25 or more, that's going to be a tough sell, because now you're going to invest time, money, resources, and chances are you're not going to sell that property. And guess who they're going to blame? Not the price. They're going to blame you as the real estate agent that you did not sell. Now, up to today and over the past couple of years, the market has been good. Most properties will sell. But if you're watching the market, if you're tracking the market, you know that this market is changing. I could tell you, I have a listing priced right since January in a condo, and it hasn't sold. When I put it on the market, the first 30 days, many showings. Now, over the last 30 days, I may have had 1 or 2 showings. It's a place that I've sold many properties. It's a community I've sold many properties in. But right now, it's slow. Daimara, who's here, she says, I have a listing, Joel, and I haven't gotten it sold, and I haven't had no showings in what, 30 days? Daimara? When was the last showing that you had? In 6 months, she's had 2 showings. It's a condo. Okay. So the market is changing. All right. So going back to question number 5, when I see you, how much do you want to list your home for? Because as a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me at a price that will cause your home to sell, correct? So what price won't you go below? So they tell you a price, 500,000. Now you shared that small little script that's there. So what price won't you go below? Oh, I won't go below 470. Now you're talking. Okay. Number 6, what is the estimated payoff amount of your home? Your payoff amount. Write it down. Number 7, again, a double-edged sword. Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? Okay. It's there. It's a question. You can feel free to ask it or not. Again, double-edged sword, because maybe they hadn't thought about selling it themselves, and now you're planting the seed of this idea. But that's up to you. Number 8. Now, this is a question that now you've gone through a little bit of intense, conversations, dialogue perhaps, and this is to lighten up the atmosphere. All right. Will you help finance the home for the buyer, or do you want to cash out? Again, the answer to that, I would say 99.9, I want to cash out. Okay. But it's a question that's there just to line it up until you get to the end of your questions. Okay. Number 9, would you describe your home for me? Write down some notes. Okay. Number 10, I'll be sending over a package of information. Will you take a few moments and review it? Now, this is what we call a pre-listing package. Okay. And this is a practice that was used many years ago. Now it's no longer used because, again, the way real estate is done now versus how it was 10 plus years ago or 20 years ago, it's totally different. But nevertheless, there's value in this. So let's say you have that appointment 2 or 3 days down the road. And remember that I said about targeting customers in your general vicinity, that you don't have to drive across town an hour to get to your listing. Okay. So you would use this practice, a package of information. This is called a pre-listing package. And in this pre-listing package, there's certain items that you're going to include. On this, if you want to know what to include, let me know and I'll share it with you. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's 4 or 5 items. For the most part, it's a cover letter of yourself. Number 2, some comps. Number 3, your marketing plan. Number 4, references or reviews, people that you've done business with. And if you haven't done any business, that's fine. Then, don't include that. And number 5, include a copy of the listing agreement filled out completely with the price that you want to list it at. Okay. The commissions and a seller's net sheet. Okay. So, and the seller's net sheet you could do, because number 6, it says, what is the estimated payoff amount of your home? So now, you know what the listing price that you want to sell it at. You do the seller's net sheet and you include it. Now, why do you do this? Because when you get to the listing appointment, you're going to ask them, did you have an opportunity to review the package that I sent you? This is going to cut down the time on your listing presentation. Okay. Chances are they didn't review it, and that's fine. But you're going to get those customers that they said, yes, I reviewed it. And if you ask them, okay, did you review it? Yes. Do you have any question? The first question they're going to say, it's about the price and about the commission you're charging. Just go into it. Handle those objections up front and share the CMA and share your value proposition, in which I will be sharing with you here now. Now, number 11, and this is where you get off the phone. Do you have any questions before I arrive? Yes. What is your commission? Great question. You can answer two ways. That will depend whether I sell it or not, or that's going to be the first question, Mr. Seller, that I will answer when we meet on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Okay. Don't answer no questions over the phone. Just say, do you have any questions before I arrive? Yes. Okay. You're going to write it down when you get there, or you're going to tell them, when I get there, that's going to be the first question that I'm going to answer. All right. So now this pre-qualifying listing presentation sheet is gold. It is valuable for you to have this filled out as much as possible before you get to the listing appointment. Because now when you get to the listing appointment, your goal is to preview the house, number one. Number two, ask any question, answer any questions they have. And number three, get to your paperwork. Because you sent them the pre-listing package, all the paperwork, all the comps. So you did your job. Now just get to the paper. Any questions on this? Preguntas sobre lo que he compartido. All right, we'll continue. Oh, one last thing. Number 12. So you know our meeting should only, so after you ask them, do you have any questions before I arrive? No questions. So you tell them, so you know our meeting should only take 20 to 25 minutes, half an hour. Is that okay? And then you reconfirm, you confirm the date and time that you're meeting. Now, here's the for sale by owners. Okay, so we're going to stay on for sale by owners. This is what I put together, a list of problems that most homeowners have. All right. And I'm just going to, I'm going to skip, I'm going to take all of them, but I'm going to jump. Number one is they don't know how to ensure the deal actually closes. The home is lacking marketing exposure. Number 5, they don't know how to handle the home inspection findings. Number 7, they don't allow potential buyers to view the home without pressure. 9, they don't know how to prepare the home correctly before listing for sale. 11, they have legal liability risk after closing for not using the proper seller property disclosures. So here there's 12 problems that I've identified that sellers have. However, actually, let me share this one. This one is probably the biggest, and where you could get the homeowners' emotion. They face safety issues when selling for sale by owner. This is something that for the life of me, and me selling real estate for over 20 years, that I don't understand sellers for sale by owners. Because think about it. Would you, in your right mind, as you're driving down the road, there's a hitchhiker, would you stop your car and allow him in your car? Chances are no. So why would you bring a stranger into your house that you know nothing about? That now they're in your house. I know it's your secure place. Perhaps if you're armed, if you have a firearm, you feel safe. But regardless, why would you bring a stranger into your house? You know how many things could go wrong? And sellers, they don't think about this. I'm surprised that more things don't happen negatively on for sale by owners. Because in all honesty, it's like you driving down the road and you picking up a hitchhiker. So this is a subject that you could bring up, and I'm going to share with you a template that I have of top 7 problems that homeowners have. And one of them is these. So let's go on. This is a summary. The home is lacking marketing exposure. They incorrectly price their home. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to handle the home inspection finding, so on and so forth. But this is what I want to share. Problems for sale FSBO sellers have in selling their homes. They have legal liability risk after closing for not using the proper seller property disclosures. They incorrectly priced their home. The home is lacking marketing exposure. They don't know how to handle the inspections. They fail to follow up with any true qualified buyers. They aren't available to handle property inquiries 100% of the time, and they don't know how to negotiate with potential buyers, offers, and contracts. So these are true problems, okay? I did not include the one of the safety one in this particular flyer, but that's a legit problem that sellers have, right? So this particular flyer, if you want me to include it or to send it to you, send me a note. I'm gonna need your image, your picture. That way I could have it formatted for you, and we'll just format it in the same way with your picture here on the left, your contact information here in the middle, and your QR code. So if you could send me your QR code and your image, I'll be more than glad, as an added value with my assistant, send this out to you, and I'll remove this logo, my own personal logo, from the top. Okay, so make yourself a note. Now, this subject here is very important. How many of you have a value proposition for either buyers or sellers? Meaning, what are you going to do for them that you have it in a written format? How many of you? Ro, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a value proposition for your sellers and your buyers? Ro, don't go silent on me. Ro, you there? All right, it's okay. Value proposition for sellers. So this is my value propositions for sellers. And these are 8 points, and there's in each point there might be 1 or 2 strategies or items that I share. So need analysis, pricing strategy, property preparation, marketing strategy, negotiating offers when received, negotiating post-appraisal and property inspections, provide info to trusted affiliated services, vendors, and contractors, and prepare for closing. So this is just a small little outline that I have as a value propositions for sellers. I have this for buyers as well. Okay, so this is something that I recommend for every agent to have a value proposition as to the services and what it is that you're going to do for your agents. And by the way, you could copy this. This is most real estate agents, we do most of these items, I would say 50 to 75%, but most of them don't have it in written form. So this is a way for you to prospect and you to show your professionalism when talking to sellers. Now, having a marketing system. What is your marketing system? Do you have it in writing? What is it that you're going to do? Okay, so here Here's an outline. Number one, an in-depth consultation with the seller, marketing plan, introduction. Two, discuss motivation, reasons, timetable to accomplish successful close of escrows. Three, review and discuss the paperwork process, the duties and responsibilities as a transaction broker, the listing agreement, and the seller's property disclosure. Number four, this for myself, discuss a 20-step marketing plan. Number five, weekly consultations with seller regarding market conditions, new listings, pending sales, closed sales, discuss agents or prospective buyers' feedback for showings for the week, planning schedule for the upcoming week. Number six, 15 steps to the successful sale of the listed property. So there's a marketing plan, and then there's steps to a successful sale. So they're two different things. 7, completion and authorization of the listing paperwork. And number 8, discuss the RPA, the right price analysis. So that is at the end, that's your CMA. So when you're there at the listing appointment, you have this sheet out and you're going to tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do in this process, provided that you did not send that listing, that pre-listing package. Okay, so you could go through this process with your seller. Now here's the 17 steps to a successful sale of a property. I'm not gonna go through all of these, but this is something that I have there. And again, each and every one of you is going to receive this recording and this attachment, an attachment of this presentation. Now, here's a copy of the seller's estimated net proceeds, okay? This is what I said to include in your pre-listing package. And while you're there with the customer, fill it out if you didn't send it in advance, okay? So if you have any questions in filling this out, please feel free to let me know, and I'll show you how to fill the seller's estimated net proceeds. Now, this is for finding inventory, okay? This is a sample, and the main thing is really what the scripts are. And Ro, you may be familiar with this. This came from the Brian Buffini program by Joe Negos, Instant Inventory. So here's a door opening dial. Hi, I'm Joel Milian from Canvas Real Estate. Are you still interested in selling your home? I specialize in your market, and I'm surprised the home didn't sell. If you're interested, I'd be willing to take a look at your home, build out a report, and share it with you. This you could send by mail. This you could drop it off as you're visiting these expires. Okay, so now we're going to get into the subject of expires. So this is one way. Here's another one. Revival questions. That means a dormant seller. Do you have any insight as to why the home didn't sell? What did your agent do well? What could your agent have done better? How do you think your home was priced? Where are you trying to move? So remember about the questions that I at the onset that I was talking about on expired listings, as to when you're there at the door, if you get them on the phone. These are 5 questions that's going to give you an idea as to what happened. So I recommend that you have these questions, and very important. Look at these questions, and one of the common denominator in all these questions is they're open-ended questions. So try to stay away from questions that have an answer yes and no. You want to get a dialogue going. Okay, go ahead, Ro.
Hey, Joe. So at what point do you because I love these questions actually. At what point did you use them?
at the
During the
moment
conversation.
that you establish communication with that expired listing. These are
But I mean, is it like on your appointment or
no,
before?
no, as soon as you establish communications with that. In other words, you identified an expired listing, and now you
Mhm.
have them. You're in front of them because you visited them,
Okay,
or
that's what
you got them on the phone.
yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Like, do you do it over the phone? Do you do it while you go and knock on the door
Yeah,
and, drop in something? Because I think they're amazing.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
you bet. So again, so the key is that they're open-ended questions. Okay. And they're not threatening, and they're just good questions. Okay. Now, this is something, and Ro and I, we have participated, and I'm currently in a program called Business by Referral, which is a Brian Buffini program. And this is an
Yes.
item of value. Okay. So again, on the for sale by owners, and I'm going to digress from the expired listing. The name of the game with for sale by owners is you being consistent and persistent, but at the same time, you coming from added value. So think of this, and I know what I'm going to share. You're probably going to say, all right, Joel, what you're saying doesn't make sense, but trust me on this. Okay. And as I was preparing for this today, I I have a folder of just material that I've collected for the last 15, 20 years on articles. Okay. And you're that for sale by owner, your goal is to help them sell that property for sale by owner. You know why? Because chances are that seller is going to be buying another property. Now, if you help them sell that property, and you coming from added value, that every time that you approach them, you're adding value to them, then if they're looking to sell, you've done a better job than all the other agents that have approached. And chances are that you may be given that opportunity to buy, or better said, that you've given yourself an opportunity to do business with them on the buy side. Because chances are that when they go out shopping for a property, and you could arrange this with them. So here's an opening question on a for sale by owner. Hello, Mr. For sale by owner. My name is such and such, and I'm not calling you to list your property. I'm calling you to ask you, when you sell this home, where are you looking to move to? And they're going to tell you, oh, I already have a property. Oh, I'm going to move out of town. Or I need to go shop for a property. Great. I just wanted to introduce myself as a local real estate agent for at the moment that you sell your property, if I could earn your trust and your business to help you make the new investment. Okay. Now, there's a whole lot of that, of what I just said. But think of this seller, if he needs to buy another property, but in order for him to buy that other property, he needs to sell this property. And if he's for sale by owner, and with the market slowing down, trust me, there's going to be opportunities in this market. Okay. Because properties are not selling, especially condos. Single family homes, it's a different story. But condos, that's a hard sell for many reasons. Right. So I say all that because this is one of the items that you could provide these homeowners, is called an item of value. So you could print these in color and just have them with you, print them in one sheet back and front, and have these, create these, just print them and have them with you. and be of added value to any of those for sale by owners. Okay. Again, the for sale by owner is about consistency and persistence and approaching them and calling them every 7 to 10 days and ask them, how is it going with the sale of your property? How did your, how did the weekend go? How did the open house go? Find out if they're having any open houses. Okay. So this is an item of value that you could share with homeowners. Now, this item here, this is the last item in this presentation, and then I'm going to get into the MREA book. This is a showing agreement. Okay. So you come across a for sale by owner and you ask them, are you cooperating? If I find you a buyer, are you cooperating? Or better said, would you cooperate with me if I find you a buyer? Okay. If the answer is yes, you basically have a pocket listing. Would you agree to that statement, Rue?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So just because someone does not list the property with you doesn't mean that you cannot get compensated, or just because they're selling for sale by owner doesn't mean that you cannot get compensated. It's just dependent on your approach, your mindset. And if you're good and you're skilled, you ask them right up front. So when you call a for sale by owner, my two questions are, hello, Mr. Seller. My name is such and such. I'm a local real estate agent, and I'm calling you for the following. Number one, is your property still available? Yes, no, yes. Great. Number two, if I find you a buyer, would you be willing to compensate me for the job of selling your home? More often than not, I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. Now, if they say yes, you basically have a pocket listing, meaning that you know about this listing. It's not that you know about this property being sold, and now you can market it, because that's the beauty about for sale by owners, is that they'll welcome any marketing that you do for them. And now when you market, you just don't want to give the address. You want to market without the address and see if you could get some buyers. And you could share that marketing with that homeowner. You could help them market that property, because you see, if you show value to them without them having a commitment with you, chances are, if they decide, and this is statistics, 75, 85, between 75 and 85% of for sale by owners, they end up listing the property. Okay. Now, when the market is hot, that number is lower, but more often than not, they give up in selling the property because of all the headaches. People, showing up at their homes, people calling them at all times, them not qualifying the buyers, so on and so forth. Okay. So it's not to say that sellers on their own, they cannot sell it. They could do a job, and perhaps better than we do. However, it is the time, the process, that most people, when they start, they say, okay, this is too much. This is overwhelming. Let me seek out a professional real estate agent. And if you've been consistent and persistent, and if you added value to them all along the way, now you have become the agent of top of mind, and chances are you will be sitting on the table interviewing for the job of selling them. And that's your goal on the for sale by owners. And this is one of the documents that you would use as a showing agreement. You fill it out, and you got Jose Perez. If I show him the property, you're going to compensate me for bringing this buyer to you if they purchase your home. So this is a commission agreement by the Florida Association of Realtors. I have a more simpler one. It's not the best looking, and that's why I didn't include it in this. But the one that I have, it's even more simpler. It's one page. Actually, I'll show it to you guys. Give me a minute here. Let me see where I'm at. because I'm almost done with this presentation. Yeah, but give me a second. Let me find this.
I can share a story while you look at it.
All right. Yeah, I got
Oh,
it.
you
All right,
found it.
so
Okay.
this one, all right, so this was not sexy. This is ugly. It's even sideways. I haven't been able to straighten it out. But guess what? Look at it. Look at how simple. Because if you show them the other one, man, they're gonna look at that and that's a lot of information. But on this one, it's straight to the point. Seller agrees that broker, check one, sell, seller property located. Just it's very easy. You can have this queued up, put it on your desktop in a PDF or a Word document. Just fill it out and just send it to the seller before you show the property to them. So it's up to you. You could use the one in the presentation, or on this one, if you like it, the simple one, the ugly one, let me know. Okay. All right, go ahead, Rose. Share your story.
I was going to say that sometimes even if you approach and you cannot get that buyer or that seller to pay commission, it has happened to me twice that they don't share, but I know that they're going to buy. So I stick by them. I help, I help with ideas. And for the most part, the two that I never got for them to agree to sell and pay commission. They bought with me, and one of them has referred me 7 people. So, I learned, because that time I'm like, I'm wasting my time, just telling this lady how to put it on Zillow and what to do and how to do open house and things like that. But at the end of the day, it pays off, because they're going to look at you from that day on as their to-go realtor, no matter
Absolutely.
what.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to
That's
share
great.
that.
And thank you for sharing, because again, there's something that we forget in this business. It's about the referrals.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the beauty of every contact and every interaction that you have. It's not about that person. It's about building a relationship with that person for referrals, because that person may never buy a property. They're renters, and they're not going to buy, but they got relatives, they got co-workers, they got friends, they got children. And hey, you just don't know. That great story, 7 referrals out of a for sale by owner. That's amazing. Okay. So again, we complicate this business, this real estate business, we complicate it. But I'm going to share it with you and write these 3 words down. Well, it's more than 3 words. Success is simple. Again, success is simple, but not easy. Okay, 6 words. Success is simple, but not easy. Okay, and we complicate this business. Okay, again, this business, it's a relational business. It's a contact business. And now I'm going to share the 3 L's from the millionaire real estate agent. Okay. So the first thing is, for all of you, I'm going to ask you, if you want to get your business to another level, you need to get your hands on this book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Okay. I cannot stress that any more than I do. Okay. Now, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it talks about the 3 L's of the millionaire real estate agent. So anyone that knows me personally, they know that I don't have no tattoos, with the exception that I have an invisible tattoo with the 3 L's, okay? Which is leads, listings, and leverage. So if I ever decide to get a tattoo, that might be the only tattoo that I will get, the 3 L's, in order to open conversation. But I think at this age, almost turning 60, I don't think, if I don't have no tattoos on my body, I don't think I'll have a tattoo before I leave this earth. Okay. So the 3 L's of the millionaire real estate agent. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading. I'm going to read about 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll summarize, and I'll open it up for any questions. There is an amazing principle in life that, when fully understood, will probably change your life forever. It's called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. This universal truth was originally discovered by the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto in 1906, when he noted that 80% of the farmland in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. Pareto, also an avid gardener, subsequently noticed that 20% of the pea pods in his garden yielded 80% of his harvest. This was all the validation he needed to launch an intensive study into this amazingly consistent theory that states that 80% of our results will come from 20% of our actions. I personally believe, this is the author, Gary Keller, says, I personally believe the 80-20 rule is the best kept, most underutilized achievement formula in business. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that 20% of your activity is going to produce 80% of your return, of your results. Okay. Now, this 80-20 principle, 20-80 principle, this could be, you could take it across the board and anything in life, or any organization, and you're going to see this Pareto rule by this economist. And Canvas Real Estate, 80% of the production throughout Canvas, all 10 offices that Ernesto has, 80% of the production is done by 20% of the agent. In any particular office, and I could tell you that I know the numbers in this office in Miami Lakes, 80% of the transactions are done by 20% of the agents. And in any organization, you go, let's take it to a church. In a church, 20% of the membership do 80% of the volunteer work in an organization. So this is a universe, almost a universal law. Now, why is this important? It says the 80-20 principle describes this rule as the principle of greatest outcome for time and effort expended. When we are focused on the 80%, that doesn't matter. We tend to get the 20% of the results we want. So here's a contrast. So sometimes you focus on the 80% and that only gives you a 20% return. However, if you focus on the 20% of what we as real estate agents need to be doing, then we will get 80% of the results. So that reminds me of the following. And this is not in the presentation, but I'm going to share with all of you, what it is that we should be doing every day. 80% of our time needs to be invested in the following. Okay. And Ro, maybe could you write this down? I know you're quick and you're able to write this down and put it on the chat. So follow this. Okay. Number 1, lead generate and prospect. Okay. Number 2, lead follow. Number 3, listing appointments and take listings. Number 4, show properties to qualified buyers only. Number 5, negotiating contracts. And number 6, price improvements. Now, we as real estate agents, whether you're working 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 40 hours a week, or 40 plus hours a week, 80% of your time should be invested in these activities. Plain and simple, end of story. If you do that, if you focus and make a commitment and doing the 6 income producing activities, I guarantee you that the income that you're going to surpass your income goals and what it is that you want to accomplish in this business. All right. Now, the 20, like everything else, real estate sales has its 20%. The 20% the millionaire real estate agent focuses on are the 3 L's: leads, listings, and leverage. When you're concentrating on leads, listings, and leverage, you're focusing on the key activities that will yield the greatest return for your business. Nothing is more important to your sales career than prospective buyers and sellers. To have a viable business, you simply must have the client leads. To have a business that pays you a lot of money, you will need a lot of leads. So your goal every day, and this is simple, it doesn't get any simpler than this. When you wake up every day, if you're working this business as a full-time real estate agent, your goal is, and your mindset needs to be, all I need to find is 1 lead today. Where could I find 1 lead today? You do that 5 days a week, that's 5 leads a week. Do that for 4 weeks, that's 20 leads a month. Do that for 12 months, that's 240 leads. Let's say you convert from those 240 leads, you convert 10%. That's 24 transactions. 24 transactions with an average sale price. I'm going to do quick numbers for you because I like numbers. Okay, so hang on. So at 400,000 times 0.5% commission, $10,000 commission per 24 transactions, that's $240,000 a year. Now, that's using the mindset, and it's a simple mindset, 1 lead per day. So from the moment that you get up for business to the time you stop business, if you work 8, 10 hours a day, go out and find 1 lead. Let that be your mindset. And you're going to have a tremendous business. So that's why the importance of leads is important. Okay. So that's why it's called the 3 L's: leads. And then from the leads comes the listings. Now, we must have leads, and in fact, it is helpful to you. You should think of yourself as being in the lead generating business. So that is what our role is, to be lead generators. Okay, to generate leads. What you have to embrace is the fact that it is the number of qualified leads you have that will either grow your business, keep you in business, or put you out of business. Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have. For this reason, leads becomes the first of the 3 L's. Without them, the other 2s are not nearly as important. Now, let's jump to the part of listings. The second most important L is listings. While leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest cost and highest net. Now, 2 months ago, I think it was 2 months ago, if you go to our YouTube channel of Miami Lakes Canvas, I did a training on one of these Wednesdays, that I have done, is the importance of a listing. or better said, the value of a listing. And there, I kind of gave an overview as to what a listing will bring you. That training was about an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour, but the value of a listing. Because when you get a listing, there's so many other opportunities that you have that it's just going to be mind blowing too. Okay. So that's listing. Now, leverage. Let's talk about leverage. The who, how, and what of real estate. Leverage answers three key questions in your business. Who is going to do it? People. How will they do it? Systems. What will they do it with? Tools. Great talent often meets and exceeds your standards and has the capacity to grow with you and the business. Poor hires, on the other hand, can do a lot of damage. Good talent should not be confused with great talent. Good is good and great is great. And although good can really help, great can actually change your business. When you look for people, leverage to help with the administrative side of your business, do not underestimate the importance of this first hire. Finding a replacement for yourself is the final step on the path to becoming the millionaire real estate agent, and we'll discuss that tricky maneuver and details in the final stage. Now, the leverage part in the listings or in the real estate business, or better said, listings gives you the leverage. Ro, answer this question for me. Is it easier to manage 5 listings, or to service 5 listings, or to service five buyers? Ro, you there? Ro, are you there? All right. I will tell you that you could service more listings than buyers. You see, you want to become, okay, Claudia, la pregunta es en inglés o español. Ok. La pregunta es, le dice a Ro, si es más fácil de trabajar con 5 vendedores o 5 compradores. Y la respuesta es que uno puede trabajar con más compradores, perdona, con más vendedores que con compradores. ¿Por qué? Porque cuando uno tiene el listing, uno puede estar en la playa y estar trabajando. Porque realísticamente los que están trabajando son los que están trabajando con los compradores. Hazte la idea que el que tiene el listing es el que tiene la empresa, es el empresario. Y el que tiene el comprador es el empleado en el negocio de real estate. Ahora, si eres bueno trabajando con compradores, entonces ese proceso se puede simplificar. Si eres un buen real que le enseñas 4 o 5 propiedades, exactamente que tú sabes lo que tu cliente está buscando y sabes cómo negociar para tu cliente, en cuestión de un día, tú puedes mostrarle a tu cliente 4 o 5 propiedades, decirle que haga una decisión, que compre esa casa y ayudarlo a negociar mientras que esté motivado. ¿Okay? Pero por lo general, el listing es el que te da el leverage del tiempo, poder manejar el tiempo mejor. Okay. So again, the listing side is you want to become in this business. And now for everyone who has stayed on this call, and I'm going to finalize with this last statement. In this real estate business, you need to list to last. If you want to have a long-term career and a successful and profitable business, you need to become a listing agent. Number 1. Number 2, your mindset now that you're starting in this business, that you're new in this business, your goal is to be a top listing agent. It is that all the training, you could get all the training that you could muster and that you could find. Working with buyers is fine, but get and attend and participate in as many trainings regarding listings as you're able to. Because trust me, when I say these words, if you become a listing agent, a good listing agent, you will make more money than a buyer's agent. I promise you. Okay? So let's become proficient, efficient in becoming a listing agent, and you will have a business that's worth living, that's worth having, and a life that's worth living in this real estate business. My presentation is over. I'm opening it up to questions. Any questions on anything that I've shared? And I'm gonna, or better said, not even about questions. I want you to give me 3 big ahas of everything of the items that I've shared. So I'm gonna start with you, Claudia. 3 cosas que aprendiste en este entrenamiento.
Bueno, disculpe que eso, pero es que tengo que hacer un esfuerzo doble porque el inglés lo
Yo
estoy
lo sé,
aprendiendo.
yo lo sé. 3 cositas que tú crees que, o sea, que captaste.
Primeramente para mí, como soy nueva, cómo manejar el contrato, cómo hacer disculpe, no puedo hablar, disculpe, es que no.
Ok, tranquila, no hay problema. Vanessa, 3 big ahas from this training, or any questions that you have.
Can I actually ask a question?
Okay, I'm sorry. What's your question?
So you were talking about the for sale by owners, and if they're planning in a scenario, let's say they're planning to move, but them buying obviously would be contingent on the sale. How would
Okay.
you handle them buying contingent on the sale?
Okay. So basically, when you go working, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you get a buyer loyalty agreement from them that you're going to
Okay.
help them acquire a property. Okay, so that would be first and foremost. Secondly, is that when you go out and show properties to them and they make offers, it's going to be contingent on the sale of the property. The most important thing is for that process to take place is that their property is currently under contract. Because if not, chances are that their offer is not going to get accepted.
So then don't stress too much showing them until they're under contract.
That would be ideal. I would,
Okay.
if it's someone you're building a relationship with or for sale by owner, then it's okay to take, a couple hours one day and show them a couple options as to what they're looking for. That way they could see what's out there as to what they're looking to do. But that would be a good investment of your time because now you're adding value to them and they're seeing that you're willing to help them and serve and provide them customer service. So that will fall under the customer service. So I've done that many times.
Thank you.
And as a matter of fact, there's a lot of sellers that they're hesitant about selling because they don't know what they could buy. So the process of showing them properties may be the first step before they go ahead and even
And
list.
then they may be convinced to go with you to list their
There you
house
go.
with you.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. Aha moment.
Yes. So two or three, 2 ahas, big ahas or 3 ahas from the training that I just did.
So that was one my aha moment right there. And the second aha moment was the pocket listing. I really liked how you said that have the showing agreement with them. Now, I did ask on the chat, I don't know if you saw it, is that showing agreement on dot loop or will you be emailing it?
Well, it's going to be part of this presentation, so it's on there. The only caveat is I noticed that it had Keller Williams on the upper right-hand corner because I had it saved on my desktop. But you should also be able to find it on in our documents
Okay,
because that's
Thank
a Florida Association document.
but I like your version, the simpler version.
Okay. Oh, you like that one? Okay. So just send me a text and I'll send that to you individually by email.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And one more big aha.
One more, I actually liked, and I took a screenshot of your questions,
Okay.
with
Awesome.
the revival questions.
Okay. Awesome.
I hadn't thought of those, and I really did like it. Kind of like
Alright.
what Rose said too.
Okay. Cool. Good take.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I'm looking here on the other side of the screen. Sonia left the room, but Daimara's still there, and we're gonna wrap up with Daimara. So Daimara, unmute yourself. Okay, hold on. Let me help you out. All right, go ahead. Unmute. Okay, quítate de mute. Go ahead. Try now. Try again. Unmute. Dale, quítate de mute. ¿Por qué no puedes? Okay. So you could tell me and and although they're not going to hear your voice, but tell me what did you learn? So one of Daimara's big aha was the early part of the training of identifying what a true expired listing is. She said she found value in that. What's another one? All right. So another big aha for Daimara was that she likes the thought and the idea of meeting the customer in person and knocking at their door rather than calling on the phone. All right. And one last one, Daimara. Okay. All right. So another big aha for her was about the for sale by owners not wanting to pay a commission per se because they don't want to list their home, but of them paying her, compensating her for bringing them a buyer. So it goes back to the question, two questions. When you're approaching a for sale by owner is number one, the property available. Number two, are you willing to compensate me to bring you a buyer? And she said that just last week, she was able to capitalize on a for sale by owner, getting them to pay her a commission on one of her buyers. So good take. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you who participated in today's training. As all of you know, I am here to assist and help all of you to move your business forward to your success. I'm going to be sending a copy of this recording by email. We're going to put it in WhatsApp. It's going to be on YouTube, and you're going to see an attachment, an email with the attachment to this presentation. So until we speak again, take care and God bless.
Thank you.
You're welcome.